Cleopatra was born in 69 BC, the daughter of Ptolemy XII, the ruler of the Ptolemaic Kingdom of Egypt. Her ancestry traced back to Ptolemy I Soter, a general of Alexander the Great, establishing a lineage deeply rooted in Hellenistic culture. Educated in Alexandria, Cleopatra was fluent in several languages, including Greek and Egyptian, which allowed her to communicate effectively with diverse groups. Her father's reign faced considerable challenges, including economic turmoil and popular dissent, leading to his temporary exile in 58 BC. During this time, her sister, Berenice IV, attempted to seize the throne, but was executed on Ptolemy's return in 55 BC. Following her father's death in 51 BC, Cleopatra, at only 18, ascended the throne alongside her younger brother Ptolemy XIII, who was only 10. Their joint rule was fraught with tension stemming from their differing ambitions and advisors' influence. The friction between Cleopatra and her brother escalated into civil war. Ptolemy XIII's advisors sought to eliminate Cleopatra, forcing her to flee Alexandria. She strategically aligned herself with Julius Caesar, who had arrived in Egypt in pursuit of the fleeing Pompey during the Roman Civil War. In an audacious move, Cleopatra smuggled herself into Caesar's presence, famously entering wrapped in a Persian rug. Recognizing her political acumen and charm, Caesar backed her claim to the throne, and together they set out to defeat Ptolemy XIII. The ensuing conflict culminated in the Battle of the Nile, where Ptolemy was drowned. Cleopatra regained control as the sole ruler. Cleopatra and Caesar's relationship was not just political, it became romantic, culminating in the birth of their son, Ptolemy Caesar, later known as Caesarion, in 47 BC. Cleopatra made a calculated decision to visit Rome in 46 BC, flaunting her status as Caesar's partner, causing scandal and intrigue among the Roman elite. In Rome, she lived in a villa owned by Caesar and was granted honors typically reserved for Roman nobility. This alliance invigorated her political position, but also antagonized many, as Caesar's assassination in 44 BC left her politically vulnerable. After Caesar's death, Cleopatra returned to Egypt, where she eliminated her brother, Ptolemy XIV, and named Caesarion as co-ruler. Meanwhile, the power vacuum in Rome facilitated the rise of Mark Antony, one of Caesar's generals. Cleopatra and Antony's relationship deepened during his visit to Egypt in 41 BC, further intertwining their fates. Antony was charmed by Cleopatra's intelligence and political savvy, and they had 3 children: Alexander Helios, Cleopatra Selene II, and Ptolemy Philadelphus. Together, they sought to consolidate power and expand their territories. Cleopatra's strategic marriages and alliances in the Eastern Mediterranean during this period were crucial to her grasp on power. The political alliance between Cleopatra and Antony intensified, culminating in the formation of the Donations of Alexandria in 34 BC, an extravagant ceremony where they proclaimed their children as rulers of various territories. This move was met with outrage back in Rome, especially by Octavian, Caesar's adopted heir and Antony's rival. The tensions culminated in the naval battle of Actium in 31 BC, where their forces were decisively defeated by Octavian's fleet. Following this defeat, Cleopatra and Antony retreated to Egypt, facing mounting pressure from Octavian's advancing forces. In 30 BC, as Octavian's army besieged Alexandria, Antony succumbed to despair and ultimately took his life in Cleopatra's arms after believing she had betrayed him. The emotional weight of this loss compounded Cleopatra's political isolation. Faced with the inevitable defeat, Cleopatra sought to negotiate with Octavian, but ultimately chose death over humiliation. According to historical accounts, she famously allowed herself to be bitten by an asp, marking a tragic end to her reign. Her death symbolized the culmination of Egypt's sovereignty as it fell under Roman control, marking the end of the Ptolemaic dynasty. Cleopatra's legacy has endured through millennia, embodying themes of power, beauty, and tragedy. Her life was a complex tapestry of political maneuvering, romance, and resilience, leaving an indelible mark on history and culture that continues to echo today.